Jah! Rastafari. Oh, excellent is thy name, thou hast set thy glory above the heavens. For out of the mouths of babes and sucklings.
Oh, yes, I give thanks, greetings to one and all, and peace be to one and all in and through His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the First, QEDEMAWI Haile Selassie the First, seen and is Christ Yahushua HaMashiach. Yes, I blessed. This is a part 2 to I-NIVERSE's broadcast or posting about the victorious, triumphant victory day of Ethiopia, when the King of Kings marched into I-NIVERSE's promised land again to deliver I-NIVERSE ancestors from the wickedness and the iniquity and the transgression and rebellion and sin that was at their front doorsteps, you know, physically, mentally, and spiritually at that time. So we cite up today, May 5th, 2013. The original date, May 5th, 1941, when Italy was exterminated or expelled, let's say better yet, out of Ethiopia so that the King of Kings could rightly govern it again. Seen? So, right now, we just give thanks for all who's tuning in and for all who is taking this knowledge to reverence this day, this wonderful day that was here really, because it's the evening now when I'm broadcasting this. But you know, we were reverencing the day and we were giving thanks for it. But this second video was more, before I go off point, was more about the words of His Imperial Majesty and what he had to say about, you know, his triumphant entry as Moa Ambesazem Negeda Yehuda Siyuma IGZIABEHER Negusinages Ethiopia into Ethiopia again, after having to leave, you know, to seek help, you know. And it sounds weird to say seek help, but let's just talk about how we fight war for real. You know, it's not only physical, it's also mental and spiritual. And the mental level is vast, and the spiritual level, vaster, if that's even a word, more vast. Yes, man. So I'm reading from the book called The Third Testament, the Elect Verses, the selected speeches of Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia from the years 1918 to 1967. We have speeches with an introduction by Ross Miguel Lorne. So we're giving thanks for this book too. We're giving thanks to the publishers, published by Research Associates, School Time Publications, and Frontline Distribution International Incorporated. Seen? We're giving thanks for, you know, Frontline Books for keeping these books in circulation for I-NIVERSE Rastafari, and for all those other publishers as well that are keeping books in circulation for the edification of the Rastafari livity. So bless up to all of the item that's keeping that going forward. But right now we're going to read from that particular title, The Third Testament, the Elect Verses of Haile Selassie the First, King of Kings of Ethiopia, from page 332, which is entitled Triumphant Entry, Victory Day, which is the Victory Day speech. And this speech took place May 5th, 1941. So you can check it out, Google it, do what you have to do. You know, because today is I-NIVERSE's Day of Victory. And like I said in the first video, Yah has taught I that we are not fighting for the victory, but we are fighting from victory, and to keep. And when I say from, that means to keep I-NIVERSE's victory over wickedness, over evil, over iniquity, sin and transgression, immorality. Seen? We're keeping the victory. We're keeping truth enthroned, to have the victory so that truth can rightly govern in I-NIVERSE's life, as His Imperial Majesty should rightly govern in the earth. Seen? So again, we're going to start from page 332. And this is a pretty long speech, so for those, we're going to read it in parts. You know, we're going to read the first part, which is called Triumphant Entry, Victory Day. It reads, subtitle, or a forehand quote. It says, "Today is a day on which Ethiopia is stretching her hands to Yah in joy and thankfulness and revealing her happiness to her children." Let's continue. "People of my country, and especially my faithful soldiers, no human lips can express the thankfulness which I feel to the merciful Yahweh Kasad, to the merciful God, who has enabled I to stand in your midst on this day on which the angels in heaven and the Creator on earth could neither have thought of or nor known. Before everything else, I want to tell you and to make you understand that this day is a day on which a fresh chapter of the history of the new Ethiopia begins." Right? We could say Ethiopia is the earth too, because we the beginning of life. So he continues to say, "In this new era, in this new age, a new work is commencing, which is the duty of all of us to perform, and especially I who are Rastafari, who are within the liberty." You hear what His Majesty said? It says, in this new era, in this new age that we are bringing about, or helping to bring about, a new work is commencing, which it is the duty of all of us to perform. So, let's hear Wagwan. He continues, "If we desire to be reminiscent of the affliction which befell Ethiopia during the past years, we shall only speak of her recent history, when Ethiopia, who has preserved her independence for many thousands of years, was attacked in 1888 Ethiopian calendar, or 1896 in I-NIVERSE's Gregorian calendar." It's not ours, but in the Gregorian calendar, which we read now in the US. He continues to say, by Italy in 1896, who had harbored aggressive designs against her for many years before, with the intention of destroying her freedom. Her brave sons fought at Adwa, and she saved her independence. The Treaty of Wuchali, or Usiali, in 1889 was not the only cause of the battle the battle that was fought at Adwa. It was only a pretext for the constant desire that Italy had of ruling Ethiopia. Read the book of Daniel in your Bible. Understand who is this Italy. Seen? It says, although the great European war interfered with her plans for a time, and in spite of her outward protestations of friendship, Italy revealed in recent years the preparations she had been making against Ethiopia after her defeat at Adwa, because of her resentment, the resentment that justice should have prevailed against her. And we cite the Battle of Adwa, for pausing here in His Majesty's words. We cite the Battle of Adwa as the victory which we had already. Seen? I did a little post on the Battle of Adwa, so check it out as well. It's on the channel. But Battle of Adwa was the victory against the iniquity, the sin, and the wickedness. Because you see, with Italy comes this physical, mental, and spiritual meditation, So they're moving on all levels. Right now we're giving thanks that we got the victory, and we're fighting from the victory, because Hamashiach has given us the victory long time ago. His Majesty QEDEMAWI Haile Selassie was only manifesting further the nature of that victory. Seen? So it says, when Italy began, he continues to say, when Italy began to make a war of aggression on Ethiopia, although we knew we were not as well armed as she was, we went against her with what strength we could muster, because it was our duty to resist an enemy that had come to seize our country. We have to defend our victory, our sovereignty, right? Our nobility over the immorality and not having nobility that false livity. You know, I'm lost for words in a sense, but cite what he's saying further. But as it was apparent that she was bent on exterminating, hear the words His Majesty used, exterminating our people with poison gas, the use of which was prohibited by international law, we went to appeal to the League of Nations, the first UN, and to claim justice, as it was feared that this hostility started by Italy might spread all over the world, and as it was a period when all those who were charged with the responsibility of government were trying to save the world from the catastrophe which has since befallen it, they were working to bring about understanding in the world to prevent the spread of the conflagration. Now, you have to cite what His Majesty is saying, because the first League of Nations was to basically like civilize governments, you know, make a world community to where the, you know, human rights, the God-given human rights, were respected as individual sovereign nations, you know, that they had a duty to uphold, that the people that were in government in the time of like 1941, and from all the way down to from the League of Nations start. I don't remember when it started, but you know, when His Imperial Majesty joined the League of Nations, Ethiopia was attacked by a member of the League of Nations, and the League of Nations did nothing. See? So we have to cite this as even another foreshadow of, you know, other things. Cause look at the UN. We're not gonna go into the UN, but that is of the same principle. See? But you know, that's how it go. But you also have to realize here, sir, that he's saying that Italy wanted to exterminate Ethiopia because of the revenge that they wanted to take on Ethiopia from the days of the Battle of Adwa in 1896. So they was never friends. You know, they signed a false agreement. You know, they didn't even sign it, because the agreement of Uchali, the covenant of Uchali, Menelik didn't sign. So, again, we're citing that Italy is, you know, and I'm not saying modern day Italy, but, you know, we're looking at history here. The aggression. And a lot of people don't know what I kind of got lost for words for was that Italy, when they attacked Ethiopia, started basically World War II. Just look at history. Italy was also in Libya, was also a bit over North Africa, and England came in sweep. See? That's when a lot of the other European countries started to get involved with what Hitler and them was doing. See? So right now, we're just going to go forward with His Majesty's words and no longer, you know, and give thanks for, you know, for those who are bearing with I-NI, as I-NI is sharing this. But as His Imperial Majesty goes on to say, he says, at that time, our true friend, Great Britain, our true friend, received us with sympathy. I remained there working, but constantly being in spirit with my countrymen whose blood was being uselessly and ruthlessly shed at the hands of the Italians, with the monasteries and churches that were being burned down. Why would they burn down Ethiopia's monasteries and churches? Just ask yourself that question. See, there's a counterfeit and there's a real version. See, so just ask yourself that questions. Why would they want to burn down the monastery and churches? Aren't those supposed to be holy places? Wasn't there supposed to be a pope that was in Italy too? Weren't they supposed to be a so-called Christian nation or Catholic, Roman Catholic nation? Remember, the Pope blessed the guns. So there was a counterfeit and there was a real version. Moa Ambesazem Negeda Yehuda, I'm declaring, was the real version. In true visitation. You see, that poppy or that papacy, that's something different. No disrespect to those who are genuinely in their own belief, you know. But when we cite truth, we try to adhere and listen to the spirit of truth. So His Imperial Majesty goes on to say that after they burnt down the monasteries and the churches, with those forced to take refuge in foreign lands, so they exiled a lot of people, and with those suffering and being afflicted in the wilderness, in the caves, and in the forest of their native land. People who didn't have nowhere to go because they don't know nothing else. Killed. Didn't have nothing to do with anything. Seen? So we're gonna continue again, you know, with another video or another posting with His Imperial Majesty's words. And the next part will be thousands perished. We're gonna get into on this day, you know, from 1935, you know, about October 1935 to about May 5th, 1941. His Majesty is teaching us, reminding us of what happened and why this day, May 5th, is extremely important to I, because this is not only a physical victory, it is also a mental victory and a spiritual victory. And remember, we have to have victory over iniquity, sin, and transgression. We have to have victory over falsehood and wickedness and all weak heart conceptions and corruption. And we have to have the victory of peace on earth. You know, that's a must. Peace amongst mankind. Seen? On all levels, a full complete peace. So stay tuned, I, brothers and sisters, for the second or third part to this presentation, or, you know, sharing for May 5th, 2013, and why it was important for I. Seen? So blessed love and honors in the name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I and His Christ Yahushua HaMashiach. We're giving thanks, you know, we say shalom, peace and love, Rastafari live.